Okay, so I'm gonna see if I can get this figured out right quick. So it's Todd Atkins here, and as always, if you like the stuff I'm doing, you can follow me here. I do put some videos on YouTube if you want to subscribe there, but you can always follow me here and watch them kind of in real time. All right, now you're here.
What happened?
All right, here we go. Yeah, just turn it around. Turn your camera around.
How do I turn? How do I turn my camera back?
It should be a little like circle looking thing. Should be on the bottom of your screen.
Right, we're halfway there, Todd. Seriously.
Okay, I'll help you. You see in the middle, there's those two arrows going back and forth in the middle of the screen, right in the middle. See, if I press it, it'll go like this. See? It's right in the middle. You'll see like a microphone, a camera, and then the arrows.
Oh, hold on. That.
Okay, there we go. All right, we're good to go now. So, Emma, I appreciate you taking the time to do this. I know it's kind of took a while for us to get set up, but I'm here with Emma Bramford, who does stuff with Fighters Only magazine and also fiveroundswithemma.com. And maybe you could talk a little bit about, when you kind of first got started in it.
Started in MMA. Wow. Back in the WEC days, definitely Gina Carano was my inspiration all over. Prior to that, though, I was always into boxing. Boxing was the first love, so I'd always be out at a local boxing show, just supporting a boyfriend that I was seeing at the time. His father happened to own the local gym down here. So, yeah, I got into it that way. I found the domestic scene back in the boxing days got pretty quiet pretty quick. So that's when I looked elsewhere and found WEC, which was a godsend, and I have not looked back, let's just say.
So you were already into journalism. Were you already into it before the boxing even?
It's a funny story, journalism. I'm not a qualified journalist. I've not been to a journalistic school, and the whole nature of the writing aspect actually came from a friend. He was due to go to a show to cover it, but he had double booked himself. He asked his editors if I could go along because he knew how much I loved the sport, how much I knew about the sport and everything. And they were like, yeah, cool, send her along. And let's just say that was my introduction into writing in MMA. And I haven't looked back. I haven't set no goals. I just went along, fan first. I've always been a fan first. So if there was an event, I'd be there anyway. But then the added bonus of like getting credentials to shows and going to cover a sport you love. It just, mine fell into places. It just fell in. I knew people at the right time, I would say. I mean, the show I covered then was, it was called Pain Pit in Wales, owned by Richard Shaky Shaw. And his son happens to be Jack. Can't think of his name. Jack. He's just broke the top 15 in featherweights in the UFC. Jack.
Oh, Jack Shore.
Jack Shaw, obviously. Duh. Oh my God, where am I based out today? Yes, his son was Jack Shaw. Now, the event I covered in Ebervale in Wales was the first show that Jack ever fought on, his first amateur fight. So I can say I've seen him rise on his first ever show, from his amateur days to his pro days and now UFC days. But yeah, going back, Wales was 56 miles down the road. Seems easier to get to just saying it, but it isn't, trust me. So I travelled to Wales. I'd cover the show. I'd make contacts. I'd make contacts with the promoter, first of all. And I would then make contact with the photographers. Someone that you should be making friends with. Someone that, like, if you're writing online stuff, you're going to want a picture that comes with it. Obviously, lots of the hierarchy, well-known photographers will be wanting to charge, but the ones that are doing it just as I were, as a hobby, as an interest, would like nothing more than to see their picture in an online article or even in a magazine. So yeah, contacts. And I found that doing the Pain Pit shows came along a nearest show called Ultimate Impact, which was in Cheltenham, and that was run by Paul Sutherland and Dan Richards together, and they ran that event for years and years. And then on the back of that, you would then have another contact show, as I like to call them. They niche together. Was Lion's Den down in, I think it's Exmouth way. It's out towards the Cornish coast anyhow, and that is run by Dave Matthews. He's had top qualifiers. As she said, I can't think. Kate Jackson trained there a few times, and we did have a UFC fighter on a last minute. Why is everything going blank? Seriously.
I have that problem.
Oh my God.
Sometimes.
So those three niche people to me were my go-tos, to see if I could go to events, see if I could gain some knowledge, to see what was going on, everything fell into my lap. New in the sport, I knew the sport. That wasn't the issue. The issue was just the workings around of hey, can I come to this show? Because all promoters want their shows to be promoted, at the end of the day. So I then set up, after contributing to a couple of websites, Woe TV is a good one. That's Michael Morgan. I started off with a couple too. as well. I then decided to dip. My friend that set me up on the pain pit one said, Emma, it's about time you had your own website. You know, you're going around doing everybody else's website when reality you should be, you know, doing your own. So he kindly set up my website and everything that was needed, built to how I wanted it. And trust me, I'm really picky when it comes to that stuff. So he had patience, lots of patience. And it's a big shout out to him, actually. Jonathan Millard, he's actually an MC, more boxing than MMA, he is. So yeah, if it wasn't for Jonathan Millard, I don't know where I'd be right now or what I would be doing. But yeah, I set up my own website. Just put anything that was MMA related on it. It was getting thousands of people traffic wise. But it's hard work for one person to keep going. And I don't know if you have your own website or Todd. It's like your own baby.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't want to like let go of my baby and give someone else a little bit of a reign, you know, and that's not control freak or anything. It's your baby. So yeah, 5 rounds with Emma is still going. I contribute back and forth for the odd outlet here and now. But as of this week, I decided to concentrate fully on my website. It's going to get rebranded, relaunched. It's got some real big interviews coming. And I've also got... Sorry?
Why did you want to rebrand it?
Not rebrand as in rebrand, but just like, here I am. Because like, regardless of me not posting any stuff on there, people still do go on there. It's not as big numbers as it was before, however, but people are still looking. So, you know, after going back and forth again through like the contribute scene, which, you know, I don't know if you're aware of, that majority of that is unpaid work. I thought to myself, I get these press releases, you know, I'm on UFC, I'm on Bellator, I'm on One, you know, I'm on Brave, you know, I'm getting all the press releases that all the other top websites are. It's just about time I did something with them. So yeah, this week it's going to be a brand new me. We're going to go more into video in, you know, Zoom's the new thing now. As much as I love written interviews, and I love an interview where we're chatting like this anyhow, I would still write it up, because I think it's always good to have, like, you know, a readable version and also something that you can just watch anyhow. So yeah, it's going to be geared more, not more, it's going to have the same amount of writing. It's going to have video interviews, and I am trusting 2 members of my close circle to write as and when they're free, and take it from there, really.
Now, you mentioned that you weren't at like a journalism school, but what made you feel like I can write just in general, what made you kind of feel like, okay, I can put out stuff that I write to amass, an audience? What made you feel like that's something you wanted to do?
Um, it's funny you should say that. My star sign always said that one of the jobs that is for my star sign is a creative writer.
Hmm.
For many, many, many years, I just look at it and go, bar humbug, bar humbug. Nah, nah, that's just not for me. It's not for me. And lo and behold, here I am. As is it for me? Well, I had the trial runs with the previous contributors. They were happy with the way I wrote. There was little alterations, little edits, and nothing major. So, excuse me, I just thought, why not? Why not take a chance? Take a chance on me. I'm at home. To me is being sat right next to the cage. I mean, right next to the cage. That is my home. If I get any other seat in the house, even if I'm at an event, I'm like, it's not as good as where I usually sit, but 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 yeah. But no, I thought, why not give it a try? You're putting yourself out there to be to let the world see if you can or cannot write, whether it makes sense, whether it doesn't. Majority of my feedback has been very, very good. I really can't say I've had anything derogatory in all, like, over the 12 years that I've been writing. Um, and nothing sexual at all along those terms. And it's really sad that I class myself as one of the happy ones, that I don't get that, because, a very good friend of mine who's a sports presenter and has been in this industry many years. She first was in football and now she's in MMA, and she's married to a MMA athlete. The amount of awful, awful comments she gets is just horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. And there's no need for it. You don't get it. I'd say you don't get it in football. However, there were screenshots how me and her first interacted. Actually, it was like her in her football kit or whatever, and it was in her football job. She had a a a trouser suit on, jumpsuit, that's what we call them, and she was going to an event awards and she got slated for wearing that, saying it was too short, blah 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 blah, and all of that. And she did this whole Snapchat thread, which I hadn't seen before. I barely use Snapchat. It's there, but I barely use it, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And I read everything that these people had put under each item of her clothing, and I was just astounded. I was like, that's just so not on. But as a female in this industry, I do have to think about, what am I going to wear to this event? What, can't wear that skirt, it's too short. Can't wear that dress, too short. Can't wear that top, it's too low. And it's a society that we shouldn't have to. We should go out there feeling and looking our best, regardless. But no, that hate mail still comes in.
Is that because Britain is a little more conservative probably than the U.S. still?
I guess on one hand, yes, having spent like 4 months plus in America back in 2019. I left America. Take me back any day. Please take me back. You know, just go walking up in Buffalo Wings and watching UFC. It's, you know, it's just amazing. On that point, I would probably say yes, but then again, no, on the football side, you know, why shouldn't we wear what we want so we feel good? It's not about making the audience feel good. Let's face it, we're the ones that are there, that are doing the job, you know, and we have to feel good to look good, to feel more confident.
But I mean, like, you see them like critiquing the royal family or critiquing, you know, this looks proper, that doesn't look proper, you know. Is that kind of standard held to everybody, sort of, or no?
No, definitely not. I mean, lockdown did us favors. It brought out the multicolored hair. Everybody's walking whatever color hair they wish to, and they should.
Yeah.
But had we not had lockdown, I feel we'd still be amongst the majority of like going, oh, look at her hair, look at his hair, you know, whereas like today it's acceptable.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I don't, like in America, I don't think people are necessarily that picky about that stuff, you know, as to what someone's wearing to an event and so forth. Do you think most of those comments that you got were from people in the UK, or?
I'm not too sure. From where,
Okay.
and again, I'm not too sure if it was more male than female or more female than male, but it just prompted me, and she reminded me at the end of it, it was like, can I swear? Am I allowed to? Am I allowed to? She was like, just fuck it. Just wear what you want, what you feel comfortable in. You know, it's for you at the end of the day. Sorry, I've got a short cough that gets me out of breath every now and then. So it's nothing major. I'm good.
Now, since Bellator happened recently, were you at that one, or were you kind of watching it?
No, I was at home. And to be honest, yeah, I'm glad I was.
I mean, what did you think of it? You know, I mean, because that was when was the last time a big event was in UK? I mean, was it UFC prior to that?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and so what did you think of, I mean, like Michael Venom Page's loss in that event? You know, obviously he was a big crowd favorite.
That, no words. I've known MVP for the last 10 years. He my kid used to do inter-club kickboxing fights, and they went down to his dad's gym one time for this inter-club when his dad was still alive, and Michael was actually refereeing the juniors fights then. So that was cool for my kid. My kid didn't know who he was, and I'm going, that's not fair. I wasn't there, and you kind of think, you know. But yeah, I didn't envisage MVP that way. And to be honest, I don't think he won.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fight I think that didn't necessarily please a lot of people that watched it. But what did you think of the overall event? Having it be in the UK, was it a big deal or not really? Or
No, it was. It was packed from the first prelim. And also, you notice that, I don't know if you guys take notice when we have London cards, like usually pre-pandemic, the stadium wouldn't be half full until mid prelim going on to main card. Now, on this UFC, it was packed from the first prelim. And that says a lot. Says a lot to the fans.
Now,
in my eyes, anyway.
Yeah, for sure. And what did you think? I'm trying to use the right word. Like, what was the reaction to the event, you think, overall?
UFC?
No, the Bellator event that just happened. Maybe like fan reaction. I know you kind of follow. Do you follow the stuff online? I mean, obviously I read American fans' reaction to it, but you have in the pulse of being in the UK. What was kind of the reaction overall?
I haven't actually done any reading today on MMA whatsoever at this point in time. And in fact, I haven't even caught up with UFC. I don't even know what I've been doing today. I've been really busy today. I have not even caught up with UFC yet either. So yeah, my Sundays usually spent catching up with UFC. Bellator, if we have it in the London, not so much the American ones for me. I'll just read the press release and whatnot. But I haven't actually seen anything. I spoke to a couple of people. I spoke to a very, very good friend of mine, Nev. We go back years, and I think he said, you're one of the only people I've spoken to and said Storley won it. So
yeah, I mean, it's those kind of fights. I think fans have a hard time with them. You know, for me, I'm used to seeing wrestling. You know, so it wouldn't necessarily be hard for me to say that Storley won the fight. But fans, they want to see like a lot of damage after the takedown. You know, as for me, you know, I did, you know, some wrestling, especially when I lived in Japan, and you know, just taking down someone that doesn't want you to is really hard, like really hard. So what happens after shouldn't necessarily negate this technique, because this technique is really hard. You know, this even in the gym, you know, if you're training, I would say taking somebody down is probably the hardest thing you have to do. Hitting someone with a punch or kick is easier, you know, even if you're not skilled.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
But
no, I totally. And I think there was a couple, I can't remember which fight it was, within the last 10 seconds to go, that person kept shooting for a takedown within the last 10 seconds. Which fight was that? It was on one of them. But Bellator, definitely Bellator. Never watched any UFC.
I think it's a tribute to Michael Page that the fight was, you know.
Yeah, I think it was. There was two times and got down both times, but, you know, near enough, kind of straight back up. But it's within that last 10-second period. So yeah.
Years ago, he probably wouldn't have got up. You know what I mean? So I think it's a tribute to him that the fight was competitive as it was, because Storley is a very good wrestler. He's not just an average. He's high level. So I think it's showing that Michael Page is getting better. So I think it's not necessarily a bad result for him. You know?
No.
Yeah.
No, I guess when you look at it on that. But then again, you've got to think, how many years have Bellator now chosen to build him up? It's been a long time, hasn't it? It's been past that, like, you know, He needs to be more in a more equal fight.
You're right. I mean, it's something where they've invested a lot of time into him, but they could bring one or two fights back. He looks impressive, and now he's kind of right back in the mix of things.
Mm.
So I think it's something they could still work with him on, But I think the fight itself showed that he's improving, because he fought Paul Daly and he got taken down. He couldn't get up. Paul Daly's not as good a wrestler as Storr. They're not even close. So he fought really well in the fight. So I think that's a tribute to him.
Yeah. Do you believe Daly's fully retired? I don't.
Oh, you think he'd come back for something?
Yeah, definitely. I think that $1 million is calling him.
Maybe like boxing?
No, PFL.
Oh, PFL? Okay, yeah. You think he'll go there?
Yeah, can you not see that? As long as he's fit and healthy and got no niggling injuries, then
Yeah.
I don't see why not.
But did he have to retire to get out of his contract with Bellator? Is that what you're saying? Or
Yeah, I think he did have to retire to get out of it, his contract. But there's workaround, isn't there?
right. That's interesting. I mean, UFC, he wouldn't have been able to do that, to retire and get out of it.
He's never going back to UFC, is he? Come on. It's a shame.
Yeah.
Shame.
Now, what do you think about the Tyson Fury stuff? I haven't really talked to anybody from your area about Tyson Fury. So what do you think about kind of like his rise over the last few years, and now maybe the Ngannou thing too? Maybe both of those. What do you kind of, as someone who lives there, what is kind of like your impression of all that?
I think he's shown how down and out you can be as a human being, and how also you can change that and to come back and to fight for something himself. Not the boxing, not anything other, himself. Now, I think he's reached the pinnacle, hasn't he? He's like, he did what he wanted to, what he aspired to. If that was his goal, only his close team will know that. But as for anything else, he won't do MMA. It's not for him.
But do you
Definitely
fight in some sort of hybrid, like maybe with MMA gloves on? Do you think Ngannou and him are going to actually have a boxing match?
him and God.
Yeah.
I don't think there's. I mean, Canelo got beat, didn't he? I know the different two weights, I know, but we're just talking of God appearance,
Mm-hmm.
In the actual boxing circuit world. I think we're going back to that, to the scene where it's like it goes flat again. You know how you'd get the Mike Tyson come back,
Mm-hmm.
and then there would be a scene, and there would be a scene on the back of that. You'd get your Tony Bellews. Do you know what I mean? You'd get a fight like that, and then you'd get fights coming back. Derry Matthews and stuff. You'd get those fights in the mixes. I suppose the up and comers, well, they're past up and comers. You got Chris Eubank, he's begging for a title, isn't he? And then you got Nigel Benn Jr. But I don't see much of a scene. Boxing to me has always, it comes and it goes.
Mm-hmm.
It comes and it goes.
I think it's kind of healthy in the U.S. because you got some guys that are kind of have the potential to be very good. You know, you got Shakir Stevenson, and you have Gervonta Davis. You know, you have some different guys out there. Charlo. So I think in the U.S., I think it's getting healthier again, except at the heavyweight level. You know, but
Yeah, I
some of
mean,
the other weights, it's been doing pretty well.
historically, I don't think the UK has had that many heavyweights that have gone on to be like the pound for pound king of the king heavyweight, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Ali, I know he wasn't one of ours, but you know, but see, I don't buy into the trilogies. You know, what, you know, have your fight, fine. If you want a second, fine. If it equals to a third, well, look at the history of 1 and 2 first. Let's see if they were actually what we call barnstormers, you know, real edge of your seat stuff, or were they a tactic to win that one, to go back for another, personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Wilder, for example, I don't think there's a need for Tyson Fury to fight him. But the Ngannou thing, it's interesting that Francis showed up there, given that he's still under contract with the UFC, you know? And I'm hearing that they may.
Yeah, that old Esmond, I think it is all down to Jake Paul. Now, don't get me wrong. He's done some good things. He's bringing up fighter pay. Yes, UFC fighters do need more money. They do for what they do, you know. And it's great now that they've got the Performance Institute. I mean, 10 years ago, they didn't have that. And like, so when we go back to the new seasons of Tough, they'd have to go off and stay in their rooms and get their coaches to do all of their strength conditioning and everything. Now it's all at the PI,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so that is a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's going to make a big difference that they have those things available. Let's talk a little bit about the WC, because you said you covered that. Did they ever bring you they had to have brought you the US, I would think, or were you just kind of writing about it from your location?
From my location, to to get a full-time job in the sport I love is about 5%. It's a niche sport. 5% will do it. So if you can find an outlet, if you can find somebody that is taking on people and also letting them have, you know, the business trips in and out of the country, you know, not just to the States, because there's more than the States for the sport, but you're onto a winner. I don't think there is anybody out there that could do that. I mean, the UFC is just the UFC, so it's not going to take you anywhere other than the UFC. Don't get me wrong, Abu Dhabi would be lovely, you know, and to get to cover some of their stuff with them would be great. But anything else, I think, is pipe dreams. We live in a society where everything is accessible online.
Mhm.
Rather than what I like to do, I like to do the one-on-one, in-depth biography interviews. You know, so you and I could be having a talk. It'd be recorded. I'd be writing down stuff, but you know, I'd be asking a whole different set of questions. But I'd be getting to know you, you know, through Skype, Zoom, Skype, Zoom, whichever, you know, and that's the way I would build my profile interview on you or an athlete. So, I mean, that's the closest I've gotten to doing one-on-ones, unless they're local, I guess. But then we haven't got no professional MMA athletes. You know, that are like the top 10, the top 15 in any in any promotion you go. It's very, very damn hard. I mean, if anybody's considering this as a career, well, first of all, you've got to love the sport. And I mean, love it. It's kind of an understatement. I mean, you get all the guys that go off Saturday to football. This is a 24-hour, 7 days a week news cycle, let alone
Yeah.
that doesn't give in. There is always something that you can just pick out and go, yeah, I can do something with that story. It's not being covered, but yeah, to get into, like I said, my break, I had, and the thing was, people say to me, well, what is your plan? What is your route? You know, what do you want to do next? You know, and I've never, ever had one, never had a plan. I've always been like, I'll just do this and this until I get bored and then find something else. I mean, when I started writing for MMA and Caged, that again came from just knowing the editor. The editor, it was just a friend on a Facebook. So like, you can have so many friends on Facebook. You don't necessarily know them. However, I didn't know him. It was just a contact that was in the sport that I choose to write about. So one day I messaged him, put my big pants on, and I thought, right, I'm going to go for it. What's the worst can happen? You can either ignore it or say no. So I messaged him saying, hey, I got this great local kid, you know, he's having a fight in Cage Warriors against whoever it was. And would you be interested in the article? It's going to be 3 pages, I said. The way I write, I mean, justice to me on like a biography piece is around 1,500 words. So it's not too long and it's definitely not short. It's just that, right, like that you get to know them and then you can see what they're about. So I said, yeah, hey, it's going to be a 3-pager. And he came back to me and he was like, Emma, we do actually have a 3-page opening. And, but it is assigned to somebody, but I don't think they're going to fill it. So let me have a look and stuff, and I'll get back to you. And because I was like, no, it needed to be in this month because of the cut-off dates with magazines, and then you got the print cut-off dates, and then a whole load of other cut-off dates. And because of the date of the fight, I was like, Alan, if you can get it in this month's magazine, you can have the article for free. I will give you that. You can test the waters with your readers and fill your space that you're not going to get filled. Oh, I didn't say that. I was just like, look, if he doesn't come back, here you go, here's a 3-page article, have it on me. But the stipulation is it has to be in this month's. And yeah, it went in. It went in. And I enjoyed writing for them. I loved it. They only came to a halt, I believe, because of some financial stuff. We were in mid task doing whatever we were all doing. And then I just got an email from him and he was like, yeah, just stop what you're doing. There's no more MMA and cage. So I guess my only thing now is I've never had a career plan, never had a career path, it's never bothered me of which route I go, but I just have one goal now, just one. And that is just to get one article in print with fighters only.
So you're not really interested in writing a lot of stuff anymore, or
Yes, no,
only
I am.
one? Oh,
Yeah, I am. But I mean, my goal is to get an article printed in fighters only. I've had articles on their website, so I have written 4 fighters only on their website, but me being the writer that I am, I like to collect the pieces. That's just a goal because I've never, like I said, gone into this industry with any goal. No goal.
mm-hmm.
No goal at all. So, it's just a goal of mine. I'm still writing. Always looking for new work, new angles. And it was quite funny actually. The lady I was telling you about at the beginning of our story was about, where she used to work in football, then went to MMA and was getting a ridiculous amount of abuse and stuff. She had one of those ask me anything questions. And so I thought I'd be cheeky and I just put in there, went, is there any chance of me interviewing you at all? I added a bit more than that. Obviously, your name don't show to like people
Right.
reading the IGs and that. And she answered the IG and she was like, yes, you're brilliant. Let's do it. So, that's just another. It's nice to hear that. It's nice to hear that I'm recognised and that they like my work.
Yeah, I think you could do a lot of stuff here because, some of us, like I was doing this because, I kind of been around from the beginning, and I knew a lot of guys from like when I lived in Hawaii. I lived on Oahu for 14 years. The sport was very popular there. I lived in Japan for a number of years during the Pride boom, and I went to all kinds of events, Shuto, Pancrase, Pride, everything. So I knew
Yeah.
people from those years, about 17 years, 18-year time period. And some of us are just saying, we should do something just to kind of show people what the sport was like back then and have some old school guys and whatnot, just for fun, because I have a job, and yeah, that's kind of why I did it. But I think as someone who has like actual talent writing and these things, I think you could do a lot of stuff just with Instagram, because it is a good outlet, I think, a good resource. Because I've met a lot of people just doing this, and it's not even something I was doing for any kind of work at all. It's just something I was doing just for fun, really. But I've met a lot of people through doing it, and made people from old school, new school. Yeah, so I think you could do a lot of stuff just with this outlet, because it's a good outlet, I think, for MMA. Instagram's really good. Twitter's all right, but I think Instagram is better as far as like making contacts.
Yeah, see, my go-to has always been Twitter once I figured out how to work it.
Yeah.
Took me 6 months. 13 years ago I joined Twitter. So I was one of the first to join Twitter. But I did that because like that's where the athletes managers would post their stuff. So you could have a little sneaky back way into a direct conversation with said athlete and get an interview out of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I chose to do Twitter. But now you're right. I mean, Twitter used to like fade. Like I could write a result from Twitter, it would then go to Facebook, it would then go to Instagram. So I didn't need to update my Facebook. But now people taking over, changings have said changed. I find myself having 2 Twitter accounts, 3 Instagram accounts, 3 Facebook accounts, and they're the only ones I care to remember at this point, let alone my own website.
Right. A lot to keep up.
And then when you ping it to like, do you want it to go here? Do you want it to go there? It's even asking for Tumblr, and I'm thinking, damn, I really don't need another social platform at all. But yeah, you're right. It's there's a lot of online presence nowadays with this.
Yeah, I think it's a good resource, and like I said, especially for you, someone who has a website and who's writing. Yeah, I think Instagram is a good source. Like if I was writing stuff or I had a website, I'd probably put maybe some of my articles here. If I was writing, I can't write stuff, but if I could, I might put like little snippets of it or something to maybe get people to go to to the actual one. Here's a piece of it, that kind of thing. But yeah,
you see that was like how you found me on this Instagram account.
Right.
It was quite weird because like I only just opened this one back up because I had it under private for quite a while. But as my kid got 18, I'm like, he's an adult now. I don't need to keep it closed. But like when you asked, like looking, saying, hey, you got great content, obviously I was flattered, and I was like, hey, have a head over on this one and you will find a hell of a lot more MMA stuff over on my 5 Rounds with Emma one, for which you were not aware of. So um, yeah, it's weird that, you know, I'm grateful, don't get me wrong, for you reaching out and stuff, and I see how much amazing stuff you're doing with other people, and their Instagrams too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good resource. Twitter, you know, like you said, it's good for like just talking to people, short message and whatnot. But I think over here you can do a lot of creative stuff on Instagram just using this platform, and you can even put some of it on other pages, so you don't really have to have like all this different creative outlets, so to speak. You can kind of just create it all here and put it here, put it there. Because I put, you know, parts of my interviews I'll put like on TikTok, like short,
Yes, I've seen them. I followed you on TikTok. I
yeah,
did
like
when I first started.
create it all here, and then I just put it there, put it here. You know, so I think it's a good resource as far as creating things go.
Yeah, and as for that platform TikTok, it really depends what you want your content to be. You know, obviously mine was in lockdown or prior to lockdown. I think I was on TikTok. Minor concerts I've been to, so it was prior to, you know, just reminding myself of like, we're gonna get there again eventually, or taking the sun and like looking how young he is at the concert. But as for the trends, I don't do any of those.
Yeah,
The thing is with me, if I sit on TikTok, I'll be on it for 6 hours without knowing.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's probably
I fall down that rabbit hole and I'm like, what?
yeah. What happened to the day? Yeah,
Yeah, because there's just so much content out there, and I end up liking everything. You know, if I think it's funny, I like it, like it, like it, like it. You go through mine, and I think I have maybe 22 likes if I'm being generous to myself. But I'm like, I'm not on it for that. I'm not on it for like,
mm,
you know how Instagram back in the day used to be like for like, you know,
mm.
I like you like. Um no, if I like something, I like something, and no one's swaying my mind from it.
Yeah, yeah. That's true. I mean, it's just a. I think it's whatever the person prefers. You know, some people prefer to use this or that. Because I see like a lot of the prominent MMA media personalities are on Twitter, but they don't do much creatively here. You know,
Mm.
they don't create much content on Instagram.
Actually, you see, why I chose to open this IG account was I wanted to show people me. I'm a human behind asking all these interview questions. So, you know, when I'm doing a one-on-one biography piece, I'm obviously asking you personal questions. Excuse me. Um, you know, these aren't too personal, but it's like, how many siblings, where were you born and raised, do you have a mom and a dad, blah blah, you know, and if there's any story linked to that, then you'd go in for that. And like, you know, some fighters have had a lot of adversity, you know, with their own fathers being murdered and stuff, you know. I just wanted to not prove, just to show them that, like, yeah, you get to speak to me on Zoom. Yeah, you get to read my work across the internet, because let's face it, that's where I am. But also, here's 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 my IG account. It's me. It's real. It's like, I don't want to butcher his last name, and I knew I would. We're good friends. Alex B B B B B something. He's doing a series called calling humanizing athletes. You must have seen it on Twitter. Please tell me you have. He's been doing it a while.
He's involved in MMA.
Yeah. Have you not come across him? And he does it on video too. So he's got like a YouTube as well. Alex.
I probably would know if I saw it. I'd probably be, oh, okay, that's what she's talking about. But, you know, like you said,
Alex,
much that we see that, you know, it's hard for me to pick it
up. So, yeah. So anyway, Alex, you copied me because I was already in the process of humanizing myself. Since I ask all these questions to these athletes, you know, I wanted to let them know that I'm real and you can trust me, and off the record is off the record, and that's why I'm a sports writer, not a journalist. That word, no, does not bode well in the sports industry. A journalist doesn't.
What do you think about some of the other people you've seen out there that, like, more prominent MMA journalism figures?
Like who?
Just
sorry?
In general.
Just,
you know, like guys like Ariel Helwani, Luke Thomas, these people like that.
I think one of them I'm blocked. And that actually stems back a good 8 years ago over something really trivial, pathetic. It was over grammar. So I'm not telling you who that was, but you could probably guess. And I'm not bothered. But that's the only big journalist that I've been blocked from over the use of grammar.
I think that's a Twitter thing, you know?
A what?
You know, Twitter, people block other people a lot, I think. Like, over here, I don't, you know, it's not something that I maybe see as much. Or you don't, over there, they want to show you that they blocked you and blah, 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 you know?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did, but he has no effect on my work. We're never gonna meet. We're in the same industry. I don't. It hasn't affected my work, you know, and it's not going to. Luke Thomas, from what I read and stuff, seems alright. Who was the other one you threw in?
No, I had mentioned Ariel Helwani, but maybe that's what you were talking about at first. But I mean, just in general, like, there's not a lot of them that I know. Those are like the two guys that I know of mostly. You know, there's other smaller ones, obviously, but those are the ones that you kind of see a lot because they're
Aaron
Brett. They have him out there now.
Yeah, I don't know how he got that job.
Sometimes that's all it takes, though, you know, just the right opportunity.
A company man. Yeah. I'm all for championing the females. I mean, if you were to go back on my site, you'd see a hell of a lot of females. A lot of these females I've interviewed prior to them being in Invicta, and definitely prior to them all being in the UFC. So I've had my foot there for quite a while. Quite. quite a while, I would say.
Yeah, that's cool to kind of have a primary thing that you're doing. Because female fighters don't get a lot of coverage, I don't think.
They don't, and what they do is they get the guys that ask some inappropriate questions,
Hmm.
and it is uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, it's just like, and fair play to Kayla Harrison for bringing them to the forefront by saying, "Would you ask that to a male colleague? Would you?" You know,
Mm-hmm.
she's done a couple of them, hasn't she?
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, in the sport because they're fighters just like everybody else, but for some reason it's one, they don't get a lot of coverage, and two, when they do, some of it is like what you're talking about.
Yeah, and that's why I think, sometimes females are better off being interviewed by a female, Don't get me wrong, males can do the job as good as women, but they have to have that, what's the word? They have to have the sensitivity. But then again, I feel that's kind of putting women down in a way. You know? All these words I could bring out for men to say, okay, you got to handle this person with this and this, but like, isn't that something we're trying to get away from?
Depends. I mean, it's just like when you work in a customer service job, right? You got to kind of adjust to each person. You can't have like for everybody.
Yeah.
So I guess it would be the same as what you're saying. You have to kind of adapt, and I'm sure not females the same either. Not all are going to have the same personality, but when you're talking about like certain sensitivities to certain things, but even broken down from that, like I might be talking to this person and this person might be a lot different than this person, so there's other things I have to adapt to, but I think I've interviewed a lot of female athletes, and I just ask them kind of the same stuff I would talk about with other fighters, like technique wise or their background wise, and their career and kind of different things like that. I don't really make stuff too personal, Maybe I wanted to know more when I was younger, but now it's just like I said, I'm just doing this for fun. Like me and my friends I had a friend who said, "Oh, you should do some of this stuff," because we would talk a long time about the sport, especially when we were younger. And I was always like, why? Why should I do that? I have a job. What do I need to do this kind of stuff for? But it's just for fun, But I see where you're coming from, where some people are they're just dumb. Maybe it's the easiest way to describe it. Or immature.
I don't know. I mean, obviously 95% of my time I'm interviewing guys. Yeah, sometimes
that's something
they can be. Sorry, you go on.
You know what I mean? That's something you could do here, like carve a niche is like interviewing a lot of female athletes on Instagram.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm open. I'm way open to that. I mean, like I said, I want to build up, I've had 12 years writing now. I need to move with the times and I have got a 5 rounds with Emma YouTube account. It's got about 2 videos on there. Very unprofessional, but we got the job done. But I think also that, like, if you're not having a laugh, or if you're not enjoying what you're doing at the time, then, do you know what I mean? It shouldn't be so, like, kind of regimented, you know? You know, as for a fighter, they could just turn on a dime of a hat. So I think we've all learnt that the hard way. You know, the 1 minute fine, next minute not. You know. But yeah, I definitely want to go more into the video interviews, and I haven't got as far as to with my team as to think about what we're doing, because I know my old company was doing vaults, so I don't want to do vaults because they're doing vaults. An in-depth stories, you're not going to get that in that kind of process. I want to go back to, like, on my early days of my my writing. At the end of each interview, I would ask 3 random questions and ask the athletes to give me their answers.
Okay.
And that was my kind of my signature. Do you know what I mean? It's like, if you ever saw an interview that, like, you had an in-depth one and then there was 3 random questions asked, you'd know, or, like, hopefully would have gained by then that was me. I stopped doing that, and I can't remember why I stopped doing it, but I did do it again for an interview that I'm still to write up at the moment. As you're aware, I've had the most horrendous year so far, so
Yeah.
it's just mad. But yeah, I enjoyed, and also I think that's a good little video segment of I think with him I was like, well, I got 5 fun questions, here you go, won't take you long, and it didn't at all. And also that can be used, like, as an intro, you know, like, you know, I've got so many ideas. Can you tell? Can you tell, Todd? I don't know, I'm like a new person all of a sudden. I'm like, I'm enjoying stuff. I've got stuff to do. I'm diarying stuff. Whereas I would have before, not would have, I hadn't. You know, so yeah, total different outlook, and total, you know, like, one day I need to put a whole day by to do my social media, excuse me, like on this account, you know, your highlights. I've had to, like, go back to all my accounts and screenshot all my boxing pictures. So say me with Eddie Hearn, or me with David Bellier, you know, and then all my MMA ones. You know, all of them. So, like, I've got all of them to do, and that will take a whole day. It took me a whole day to go and find just what I had on social media, as it was, you know. So since this account is being used more and more, so, you know, it's like I need to get it in order as it should be. But yes, I got a day for admin and a day for other stuff. It's good. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I went to the last ever MTK show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what did you think about? I don't know how much you want to talk about that, but all the controversy surrounding MTK. I don't know
Uh,
how much, like people
great.
in your area, they don't want to talk about. Me and some of my friends, we talked about it on the show that we did. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but we're in America, so we don't. But people I know, like in Ireland, and they don't want to talk about this subject. So it's not like I want to put you on the spot, but it's
Oh, I couldn't. I don't give two shits, Todd. Seriously. We had the Daniel Kinahan stuff last year. In the UK, there was a lot that came out. If you chose to read it, you chose to read it. You would only ever get a part of a mafia story here anyway. Let's face it. Back to the show I went on Good Friday is because my best friend is a professional female fighter, and she was fighting on the show. Beck Connolly, Lady Luck.
Mhm.
Yeah, she was boxing. It's the only reason I went. We took her kids down so they could see her box. That was it. We watched her box. We went home. It was at the home British Boxing, York Hall. Oh my God, it was the hottest day of the year outside. It was so fucking hot inside. You couldn't take a drink in with you. You couldn't even take your drink from the bar. It was, I hated it. It gave me a migraine,
Yeah.
absolute migraine. Hated every little bit of it. And that had nothing to do with MTK or
Hmm.
Daniel. I mean, there was one awful woman that thought she was above everybody else. Um, like a bouncer type, seriously. But she was awful.
But I mean, with what happened to them, is it going to affect the the promotional side of boxing, MMA over there, or no? Do you not think it? Because some fighters
I am
out, right? They have management through that company.
MMA, no. I hadn't heard of any MMA gyms that were under MTK specifically. And as for MTK Global, yes, that will. And also they had affiliate gyms, which they're now trying to say are non-affiliated. But if you're carrying the MTK Global sign, then for everybody's interest, it's just best to get rid of completely, isn't it?
Hmm. But I mean, if I'm a fighter and they're my management, now they're out, that could affect me big time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you see, I mean, when they put that out, I put something on my social going, I hope all the fighters and everybody else has got um, the payments that and the backlogs that they were due and stuff. However, I mean, that's boxing. So one would hope so because it's regulated. MMA over here is not. So, and like I said, I hadn't heard of any MMA gyms, but if there were, I think you're kind of screwed because there's no government, there's nobody, there is no one you could go to for any kinds. But like I said, I hadn't heard of any. Maybe they were new and fresh and just coming up. But the boxing is governmented, so um, there'll be more stringent ways of trying to get out of. Definitely.
Now, as we kind of wind down the interview, I wanted you to kind of talk about the new stuff you're going to be doing with your website and kind of remind people where they can find it and stuff like that.
So my website is called 5 Rounds with Emma. It took me all these years to actually realise I was actually built for this job because my name is EMMA. It's cliche. It's cliche. Yeah, I know. So yeah, 5 Rounds with Emma was like, well, why not? You know, if you see my logo, you will see as to why. Type that in anywhere. And it's spelt 5 rather than the word 5. Socials are 5 Rounds with Emma. Now, some of them are 5 and some spout. Don't ask. I don't know what mood I was in that day, to be perfectly honest. Twitter, though, is at Emma Bramford, which is my name. And also, when you see, once you've friended me, you'll see my name as Emma and my middle name, May. Say it out loud, Todd.
M-A-E, May, yeah.
No, the whole name.
Oh, MMA Bramford.
No, just Emma May.
Oh, MMA, okay. Yeah.
Emma May. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
It is.
It was a play on words.
Yeah.
You failed. You failed miserably. Anyway, yeah, so Twitter is Emma Bramford and also 5 Rounds with Emma. Facebook is Emma Bramford. I use that for everything. I giving up too many accounts on in and out. So yeah. So Emma Bramford on Facebook, Emma Bramford on Twitter. Twitter also 5 Rounds with Emma. Instagram 5 Rounds with Emma. And Emma Bramford. I think that's all of it. Am I forgetting anything?
I don't know. I don't think. Maybe.
It seems like I am. And I just want to give a shout out to my great friends who have come to my hour in need and helping me, which is George and Kieran. And Nev, you've been there since day dot anyway, so you're always there. But George and Kieran, I'm looking forward to the work that you send me my way. And yeah, it's going to be a new adventure.
Do you know Lee Remedios?
Yes, we spoke about Lee Remedios.
Yeah, I was one. He's a good friend. I've known him a long time, you know. He's pretty funny.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. Very, very funny.
Yeah, I just wondered if maybe you knew him. So I guess most people know him out there.
Yeah. Lee's a great guy. He is absolutely, he will help anybody. However, if you did actually piss the guy off, I'd leave the country if I was you. Seriously. He's one guy you do not want to piss off in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, he's always been a funny guy online and stuff.
Yeah, I like Lee. Yeah, I haven't spoken to him in a while. I was going down VT Jiu-Jitsu to train a while back, actually. I haven't trained in a while anyway, but yeah, I was going down there. I met him randomly on Facebook. And then we went to the Manchester Expo together. People wanted pictures with him. It's really funny. I was like, I'm with a star. Yeah, it was kind of funny. But yeah, Lee's a great guy. He'll always offer his time if he's got it.
Yeah, for sure. I've had him on my show a couple of times, you know. He's funny.
Yeah, he is. And he has the most hilarious stories he could ever tell.
I mean, if you had like this, you know, like people envision what a British person sounds like Lee sounds like that, you know, like really proper, you know. I always make fun of him about that. You know, like I compare him to like the Bond villains, like Gustav Graves, and you know, you remember Gustav
Yeah,
who had the satellite?
yeah,
Yeah, I always kind of compare him to that guy. He just reminds me of the kind of people that you would see, like the proper, because you have like the people like Paddy Pimblet, and then there's Lee.
Oh, Paddy Pimblet.
Yeah.
How can you, how can you have Paddy Pimblet and Lee in the same sentence, dude?
The Paddy Pimblet talk like you? Why does he talk like that?
He talks like me.
Yeah, he was saying like
No,
where he's from.
he's from Liverpool.
Yeah, I was saying, why does Paddy Pimblet talk like that, and you talk like this? Like the people in the movies do. He does.
Lee is actually, you're right. I get where you're going. Lee is actually a posh, but not too posh as if it's in your face posh.
Yeah.
Seriously, he's I could think of more posh people out there that's make sure that they tell you they're posh. But yeah, you'll have to have me, Lee, and you on together and see what fun we can come up with.
Real quick, what do you think of the Paddy Pimblet stuff as it's going on right now?
I think they're doing right and building him up slowly. After all, us Brits, we don't have any easy fights. We don't get built up like the Americans do, at all. So I think it's great that well, first of all, you've got Boylan as a manager. So Boylan got the Barstool
yeah.
I want to say advertisement, but it's not sponsorship for him.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a 6-figure. He's doing it the right way in being built up in UFC. He does need to get his eating under control though, because he is going to suffer down the line. I mean, I don't know if you saw that. What did he go to? 200 pounds, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's
too sure
enough to where he can do it for now, but as he gets older, it would be hard.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah. As he gets older, and it's like, what's it? I think I commented on someone's IG the other day that like someone was so used to weight cutting, it was like an in and out job. Anyway, this person just couldn't get it off.
Yeah.
And I just messaged like going, well, in the end, your body does just stop sweating.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's exactly what.
I mean, he might be able to get away with it, but when he gets older, it could be hard. Yeah, you're right, for sure. It could be really.
But yeah, Pimblet. I don't know who's going to be in this July card in London.
Maybe Davy Grant. He won last night.
He is on the card. That's been announced.
Yeah.
Thanks for telling me. Anyway. Yeah. I had it in there.
It was a good fight. He fought Louis Smolka from Oahu, actually.
Oh, Smolka is good though. Anyway, isn't it? I like Smolka.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, who have we got? We've got Aspinall. Aspinall.
You could have Paddy, Aspinall, and Davy Grant, And then you got the girl, who's always with Paddy. What's her name?
Molly. Meat can.
Yeah.
Meatball. Molly. They should build her up the right way too.
So that could be a pretty big card if you got kind of like all four of them on there.
But all those fights you must have mentioned were old Cage Warrior fights.
Mm-hmm.
which I sit here and go, Cage Warriors, watch. But also there's part of me now going, I just want to go back to UFC for a UFC event.
Now, Paul Craig, he's not from that area, though. He's from
Scotland.
Scotland, yeah. Which might as well be kind of, I guess.
Yeah, we adopt him. We adopt him now. We do. We adopt him now. We do.
Right?
Sorry?
Gordon Ramsay. Gordon Ramsay,
Yeah.
Scotland, the chef.
I didn't hear you.
Gordon Ramsay.
Oh, the chef.
Yeah, he's from Scotland, right?
Is he? I think he is, actually.
Yeah. But I think most people think he's from the UK, but he's not. So,
No, I do actually think he has darker roots over in Scotland. Yeah, you're sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, Craig, he could be on the card too. That was a good point by George. Paul Craig. He's the guy that could put the card, perhaps.
So what we're in May, June, we're in a couple of months off the next UFC London. Whoop, whoop.
Darren Till, yeah. He could try to come back. Yep.
Oh yeah, Till's been announced, I think, as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he looks like now that he's been training with Hamzat. Is he improved, or is he kind of not going to improve? It'll be interesting to see where he's at.
Yeah, it's just gonna be a like when I was in America, I did UFC 241.
Mm-hmm.
That was Stipe v DC2. And Nate Diaz's first fight back within 3 years. So it was really, really good. But we did VIP and hospitality. And we didn't even get to our seats until the main card, because the hospitality, you had the fights on the hospitality area, and you had different fighters coming up to meet guests too. So, boy, I had Masterville was there, James Krause was there, Touchy Feely was there. There was loads. Absolute loads.
VIPs.
Sorry?
That was like an extra benefit for people that paid more or something.
Yeah, VIP experience is way more. However, I would not do it in London, because you're not going to get the fighters that you'd meet in America at all. There's just not a chance. And also, I don't like the floor seating, because everyone's just stood up anyway. So, it's back to just getting your tiered seatings and you know where.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to do this. It was great talking to you and kind of learning more about what you do. And if I could steer some people your way, if you want to interview some people, if you need me to. I don't know if you even need me to, but there's some people I've talked to that might be interesting. And
yeah, sure. I'll holler at you. No worries.
Yeah.
And thanks for inviting me on the show.
Yes, I greatly appreciate your time and everything. I couldn't do this stuff without people like you that wanted to do it. So I'm very grateful that you did.
I got there in the end.
Yes. Well, it was great talking to you and great meeting you. And like I said, maybe I'll talk to Lee and see if we can both get you on, because I don't think that'll be a problem, actually. So that'd be pretty funny.
That'd be quite fun. Definitely, for sure. Definitely.
Look, I saw he's in an argument with someone on Facebook, and he got banned from Facebook because of it. And so he's just back. And I was wanting to bring the guy that he was arguing with, like him and Lee, to argue with each other on here. I think it'd be pretty funny.
Who?
Uh, he's some guy in the U.S., but I just would do it just because I think it'd be funny.
I know who you mean. It's Phil, isn't it?
Yeah, Philip Tusi, Tusi.
Tucky. I'd say Tucky, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be funny to have them like argue with each other on here. It'd probably be entertaining.
Yeah, because there's kind of no outright kind of little horrible band things, you know?
Yeah,
You know? There's nothing untowards on that.
it would be okay here. So
Yeah, of course. Safe
yeah, yeah,
space.
I think it'd be funny.
Definitely. Yeah, get that going and make sure I get an invite to that then, Todd. That would be good.
Sure thing. All right. Well, it was great talking to you, and like I said, I'll get with you and see if we can get Lee and you together sometime.
All right, speak to you soon, Todd.
Have a great day.
Angie,
Yeah.
bye.